The reason behind them crossing over Dante, Nero, Trish, and all that with Trevor Belmont and whatnot.
My guess would be probably
if they're gonna go with that timeline,
they probably got a big bad that they need backup for. Like what usually happens when they do crossover things, it's something that not one of them or a group of them can defeat. They have to get outside sources to defeat them. So that would be my theory.
Gundam and Go Lion.
Gundam and Go Lion.
Yeah, but how are they going to do it? I mean, it's like the timelines are different.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So the timeline from Castlevania is going to have some kind of time travel to move forward.
Or you could say they're in the same timeline. I don't really think that would bother anybody.
Multiverse theory is a bitch.
Yeah, but in animated anything, then you can just theorize whatever you want. You know what I mean?
So what's supposed to happen? Mundus is going to cross over into the Castlevania timeline where Trevor is unmatched to defeat Mundus? Because Dracula is already dead. Mm-hmm. So, well, yeah, he's dead. Yeah, he's dead.
Did you just spoil it ending for Kyle?
No, I didn't. Because depending on which timeline they're going to go with, it's either the Dracula is dead or the Dracula is just in a slumber.
The Dracula?
Depending on what timeline they're going to go with. Because Alucard put Dracula to sleep for several decades.
The son of Dracula?
Yeah, Alucard.
Yeah, Dracula backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I mean, I guess that timeline could kind of fit. I mean, like, who's the cast for the crossovers? Dante, Nero, Trish, Virgil?
I'm not sure. They just announced it.
You have an issue with this kind of crossover, but you have a crossover when they did Goku, Laffy, and that muscular bound guy for that tournament.
Dude, it was fun to watch, but it was horrible at the same time.
But you get my point.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's just like when
all they're doing is promotions. Yeah, that is why they're doing the crossover.
I guess,
but this is more than just a promotion, though. I think they actually want to take this seriously. I'm not saying that promos don't take it seriously, but
Dragon Ball Heroes.
But it seems more like they want to turn this into a legit show, not just because
and they can't just choose any timeline. It has to be a specific timeline to fit.
Jay,
because there's
Jay,
8 generations.
Jay,
What?
Jay,
what?
It's simple. They will do what the fuck they want to do. Whatever makes sense to them doesn't always make sense to you.
The question is, will it be good in the end? That's the overall question. I mean, they just literally announced this, so even though both shows have their own thing, like there's already a Devil May Cry anime show, but you can do that with anything. The Castlevania technically is a Japanese and American as an American crossover on its own. So why not do this? People were hoping for before this announcement, because they kind of trolled us.
Would rather see Hellsing crossover with Devil May Cry?
Hellsing Ultimate, more like the manga, sure. Why not? I'll even throw Vampire Hunter D in there just for good measure. Just based on the fact that they're all based on the same characters. Dracula. So, but people were hoping for a Zelda show, and because the guy that's writing it, he was just very vague. He said, "I'm going to be working on an adaptation of a classic game." Another classic game. He's done Castlevania, so everybody was rallying. They were like, "Is it Zelda? Is it Zelda? Are we gonna get Zelda?" I don't think we're gonna get Zelda. Not this time. This ain't the '80s where everything was just made to make toys and video games. Now,
are you serious, dude? Every time a new game comes out, there's a set of figures that go along with it.
But what I'm saying is now that's not not everything is a giant commercial like it used to be. Before, they just threw anything in a sandbox and just wrote it, like Ninja Turtles, freaking He-Man. Even though the comic came out first, toy line comic, and then even Thundercats. The Thundercats actually that was a TV show before anything, so you can count that. Ninja Turtles, all promotional material, but now we're actually going into a different space here. We got better writers, we got storylines. And we got people taking this seriously, but our generation is the most nostalgic generation, so they're going to squeeze it for all it's worth. If they do come out with a Zelda show anytime in the future,
we'll probably base off the Ocarina of Time.
Why? Because that
was the most popular.
But right now, Breath of the Wild's pretty popular.
What's Breath of the Wild?
That's the current storyline for the
which is
Switch.
part of the false hero timeline.
The fuck's false hero?
Well,
it's the timeline where Link doesn't actually defeat Ganon.
Yeah,
Ganon defeats everyone.
You want to talk about multiverse theory? That's Zelda right there. That entire.
You have the true hero timeline and you have the false hero timeline. The difference between the two: Link actually defeats Ganon and Ganon dies. False hero, Ganon conquers the world and defeats everyone.
So the baddie actually wins.
In the false hero timeline, yeah.
So why is it called a false hero?
Because Link doesn't defeat Ganon in the end.
Doesn't make him a false hero. He tried.
Yeah.
So, false hero would be if they turned Ganon into the hero and Link into the villain. That would be a false hero.
Oh, you mean like when you go into
like a time reversal?
Like when you go into the second Earth for the DC timeline, and you got freaking Lex Luthor
as the good guy,
yeah. And Superman is part of the crime
that's
syndicate.
A false hero.
Well, don't argue with me about it. That's what they call it.
I love timelines like that, but I remember watching.
I remember this. If it wasn't for Trunks and going back in time, then there would be no multiverse. There would have been no Zamasu and all of that shit.
No, there still would have been. Because he created everything. So there still would have been a Zamasu and everything.
You know what I mean?
So that still would have existed. The only thing that wouldn't have existed is the two sets. It's the two sets of androids, and
Kakarot.
Cell still would have been around, but they wouldn't have known it. They wouldn't have known about it, and Goku would have, because no matter what you do in the Dragon Ball timeline, all you're doing is creating a new timeline. You're not changing much of anything. As soon as you go back,
so future Trunks' timeline is the true timeline.
Not really, because every timeline still exists. His still exists. So is the one we know. But following time in Dragon Ball is so complicated and overly convoluted.
Time dilation accelerator.
That it just becomes. It's like they mentioned it in in Dragon Ball Super. How many times did they go back and forth between the future that Trunks knows and the present time? Right, we don't see any significant changes, right? And Black was able to rip between both timelines, but there's different ones out there, So all that was a plot device, and it's still confusing as heck. So trying to figure it out is to me is pointless.